you take the screw out, this whole thing slides out the back, and just slide the guts, this part of it, out of it. Beyond that, one's skinny and one's fat. I don't know if that's the politically correct way of saying that, but they're two different widths. You have a green dot, blue dot, orange dot, red dot, violet dot. We actually did a job once, and the whole problem was they put the wrong color dot on their thermostat. So I'm always running my hand and looking for any kind of a crack. You definitely do not want that. Okay, it just went flying. Well, hi folks, this is Darren with My RV Works. Tonight we're in Joyce, Washington, and we've got a Suburban furnace here, and let me bring you a little bit closer. So we have diagnosed it to be the motor. So the purpose of this video is to walk you through how to diagnose and replace a motor on your Suburban furnace. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I might move you guys around a little bit, but let's just talk about this furnace for a second. So it's a Suburban SF30. Part number right there. On a Suburban, if you look at the first 2 digits of the serial number, it's going to tell you the year that this is. So this is a 1738. So that's the 17th. So it's 2017, 38th week. So that's a quick thing to know on your furnaces, on your Suburbans, like the first 4 digits. So this furnace came out in 2017. So if you've got a newer furnace, like I think the ones that are SFs that are coming out, in, they're your first 2 digits would be 21 or something like that. Here, this furnace has screws. I think you're going to have these little clips that are going to have to pop off. On your furnace covers, if you have to break the clips off, I count on having to break those, okay? I have been very careful. I've studied them and tried to take those clips off, break them every time. So bring some extra screws if you have that kind of cover. So anyway, let me show you what this is doing. All right, so when you pull your furnace, you're going to have 4 wires, plus and minus, and then 2 blues. Plus and minus is obviously 12 volts plus, 12 volts minus. On your 2 blues, one of your blues is going to be 12 volts hot. It's basically going to tie into the red hot one in here. And then it's going to leave and go into the RV depending on your thermostat. Okay, so we've got the furnace pulled out of the RV, and we are given 4 wires right here. And when I pull furnaces out, I like to put like a little cover or something over it. When we do a lot of water heater R&Rs, and so these are the little caps, and also refrigerators. So just kind of put it right on the gas valve. That keeps some crap from getting inside the gas valve. So you're going to connect this with an LP line, and you're going to have your 4 wires. Depending on your manufacturer, they're going to wire your furnace differently, but it might get its power. Red is going to be 12 volts plus. It might come from the thermostat. It might come from the fuse panel, depending on if you have a Coleman thermostat, Dometic thermostat. They're wired differently. So I want to stay focused on the motor here. But anyway, so on your 4 wires, you're going to have a plus and a minus, and then these 2 blue wires are your call for heat wires. Of the 2 blue wires, one of them will be hot, 12 volts, and the other one comes back with 12 volts. It gets switched somewhere in the coach. Again, depending on your thermostat, they might say, okay, well, we're going to kind of cut one of the blue wires back and leave it inside here. You're only going to have 3 wires. The takeaway here is hook it up the same way you got it, without me going into 20 minutes on why they're wired that way. So having said that, let's demonstrate what this furnace is doing, okay? And let me reach into my bag here. I just threw everything up on the shelf on my bench here. So this here is a test lead set that we offer. So you can go to myrvworks.com, go to our store, and you can see what we got here. The thing I like about this is something that I make part of some of the parts for. And let's see, what do I need? Okay, the thing I like about this is I can accessorize it with the stacking banana plugs on the end, whether I want to common ground something, you know, or any of these fittings connect to my banana plugs. So I want a red and a black there. So anyway, why are you not? These things get so much abuse from me in the field that if they can hold, there it goes. If it can hold up to me, you know, this has been used for several years, so it's working, it's holding itself together. But yeah, we've got different types of connections. It's rare that I will need to come up with some kind of a connection, troubleshoot, or diagnose an RV that I don't have in my little bag here. A couple more stuff in here. I have a whole nother one of these things in this zipper part. And then, let's see, I grabbed a battery. So here's a battery. So what I'm going to do is connect the furnace here on the bench to plus and minus. And I'm going to need to connect these two blues. Okay. All right, so here's my battery. Let's see here. That's minus. X is plus. One of these blue ones is going to go hot on me, so I just want to be ready for it. And so I'm going to give it a call for heat right now. Okay. So start it up. I don't know if you can hear that, but it sounds like a very weak motor. So I'm going to take my meter, put it in AC mode, or amps mode. I'm on AC. I'm going to go to DC. Okay. So when you're going to check DC current, you identify the wire that goes to the motor. The motor is obviously down in here, and so you find a black and a red wire that comes out of it. So I'm just going to grab the red one, and I'm going to disconnect my motor lead. There we go. Okay, so zero my meter out to 0, and then I'll read the current going to that motor. 1.8 amps going to that motor. It should be closer to 8 to 10 amps here. I'm not connected to any ducts, so it's probably going to be closer to maybe 10 amps or something like that. It's not really working. But so basically, folks, we have a bad motor. Okay, it sounds terrible, and we need to fix that. That's what it's here for. So if this is what your experience has been, and now the whole motor just stopped. It just died. Did not even try to ignite. Probably the cell switch did not get made. So I'm going to leave this assembled because I'm going to use it at the end. Okay, so we're done there. So we've demonstrated the problem. We've got a bad motor. Okay. So on your furnace, you need to get to everything. So this black part slides out of this cage. So sometimes they'll have a screw right here in the front, one screw right there. Sometimes they'll have one in the back. Obviously, it's going to be in the back. So turn this around. Back side of the furnace, quarter. Right there. Put this here. Okay, so here's our screw that we were looking for. Sometimes I'll put one in the front, sometimes I'll put one in the back, sometimes you got one in both places. And the reason I bring this up is because you might have a situation. When I turn this around, I'll explain what I'm trying to say. So I'll take this one screw out here. Okay, it just went flying. That's why you carry spare screws. So this should be free. Yeah, okay. So let me just pause for a second. I'm not even going to try to get in the camera here. We did one the other day, and it was another Suburban, but they had put screws all along this thing. So we had to pull the entire cover, cage, everything out just to get the motor swapped out. Normally, let's say this is in the RV, this is your wall, and you have this access panel right here. You might need to go to the back to take that one screw out, and you might need to take a screw out here in the front. You might get lucky. For some strange reason, in their infinite wisdom, Suburban has decided to add additional screws all the way around this thing, so the only way to do what I'm about to do is to pull the whole thing out and take these screws out along the top. Luckily, on the one, this one's a 17th year, you don't have to do that. But, well, this one, yeah, you're going to have to go this way. So, anyway, it slides out is the point I'm trying to make. And so, you might be able, you see what we just did there. You might be able to leave this in the RV. your mileage may vary. Now this one comes in from the back. My gas line is coming in from the back here, so this one I would have to have pulled it out of the back end of the coach. But let's say you have a situation where you can't get to the front. You take the screw out, this whole thing slides out the back, and you can leave all your ducts connected here on the sides and leave this fixed in the coach and just slide the guts, this part of it, out of it. So just, your mileage may vary. I'm going to set this on the ground. So on some of yours, they're going to put screws to this flange right here, and I hate that they do that. That's just terrible. So anyway, here we have our Suburban furnace. We need to get to this motor right here, okay? And so to do that, we need to take this cover off, okay? And we need to take this cover off, and then the motor is going to be right in there. So pretty straightforward. I think what we'll do is do a fast forward. You don't need to watch me take one. So I'm going to take these screws off for this cover, this little triangular plate down here, and then the screws off for this exhaust cover. So here we go. Here we have the sail switch on the Suburbans. Some of the newer ones, they take the body of the sail switch and they put it outboard of it, so it's not directly inside the blower housing. Some of you are on the outside side. That is what I mean by the serial number. It's going to be an SF30, but based off of the serial number is where some of these things might change. So it's good to know your serial number as well. And so we know that this one is a 2017 model. So I've got my favorite little corner pick here. It's great for just popping off things. One of the things I like to look at on sail switches, you may not be able to see it, but I'm looking at the color of these pins right here. If they are purplish, that means that it was getting too hot, and that might indicate that your sail switch is either failed or is about to fail. So whenever I look at the sail switches, I always like to see if they're kind of turning purple. If I had one around here that was like that, I'd show you what I'm talking about. Maybe watch other videos and I'll have found that. So there's that cover. So now I'm going to flip this over. Okay. And we'll keep on working on these screws. Okay, we got it loose. Now, this is where it would be good. They've changed this design right here a few times where there's a hole that you have to feed your wires through. So this one doesn't. But one of the wires I'm going to need to get off is the ground, and that's this guy right here. Okay, where did this go? Okay, I'm going to pop that off. That's what I like about these little tools. It's so simple, but it's great for doing that kind of stuff. Yay. All right. We're going to cut these cable ties off to get the motor wire loose. Connects to the motor DSI board, direct spark ignition board. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. The whole thing just comes loose like that. Okay, that wasn't a big deal. I think you can handle that. So just a bunch of little screws, and this one went to your sail switch. This one goes to your sail switch. So I'm going to move this out of the way. Looks like in all of my excitement, my red plug came off, so that's okay. I got another one, I believe. Yep. It's right here somewhere. I've got other little red caps that I plug on those that hold a whole lot better. So now we are left with just the motor, okay? I like this design. It's a couple screws, but the whole thing comes out and I still have my combustion wheel and my blower wheel still attached. That makes it great because I can work on this on a bench. Some of your older ones, and I believe the Atwoods, the only way to get this thing out is to take your combustion wheel off, and there's going to be screws in here that you can't get to unless you take your wheel off. On those, sometimes I'll just order a new combustion wheel because sometimes I have to destroy it to get it out. And but anyway, the thing I like about Suburban is they have a really nice take the whole thing out kind of a thing. So to get the blower wheels off, I need an Allen key. Okay, we got Allen keys here. So I do not know if that is SAE or metric, but whatever I find out, I'll let you know. I've given up trying to remember all these things because they change it. All right, that's a little loose, so I don't think it's going to be SAE. So that's why I just carry all of these with me. So let's see if it's this guy. There it is. Okay, I think that's a 4. Where's it written? Anyway, looks like it might be... No, it's 2.5. So 2.5 is a magic number here. Millimeter. Okay, now my eyeball is looking for about how much is left on the top of that. And we have a new motor right here. And I just noticed something that is unacceptable. So it's broken right there. See that little broken piece? That may have happened by me dropping it, and it hit this cover. So remember I was saying I stock these things, so let me go get one that I have. Now let me look at this one while I'm at it. This looks great. Had we not fixed that, then this thing's going to make a terrible ticking sound. So when this thing came out, it probably is where that happened. That looks like a fresh cut. So that's on me. So I need to go get a new impeller wheel. So let me go get that and I'll be right back. Okay, magically, just like that, I have one. If you need one, there's your part number. Okay. And if you do what Darren did, I almost grabbed one of those if I needed to. Very nice. So remember when I was talking about the clips? Sometimes your covers are going to have these little clips on them and not the screws. And I don't know how to get those clips off without breaking them. I've tried and tried to be very gentle. So if you come across this and you're doing this professionally and you come across a little screw packet that Suburban sends, hang on to these things. They're golden because the only way, it's the same screws that we took off. Now, the ones that have the clips, they are going to give you little screw ears. They're just not going to put screws in them. Okay, so there's that. So we're done with the box. And a brand new wheel. That's on me. I made the mistake. I just need to slow down. I'm trying to be fast. So, okay. So we're going to put this on. Okay, now, it was about that much. Now, what we're going to do, when we put this on, I'm going to eyeball it right now, but I'm going to kind of do a dry fit, if you will, before I actually commit to screwing this whole thing together to make sure that my wheels are in the center of the alignment. Okay. I'm realizing I needed to put this on. So I'm doing this in real time, so this is a little foam piece that goes here on the front. So I'm going to take this wheel back off. On the furnaces that let me mention this. On the furnaces that have the shaft that you have to, the motor, stop. On the furnaces where you have to take the combustion wheel off to get to the screws on the inside, I'll put some anti-seize on this shaft right here so that the next technician that comes around is not confronted with the same mess that I was confronted with to try to get that off. So a little bit of, we don't need it on this one because this is pretty easy to take off. Does that make sense? A little anti-seize on that. I'll also use high temperature anti-seize on when I'm working on refrigerators. I'll put some high temperature anti-seize on the high temperature electric heating elements. So here we have this fancy little foam gasket. Okay, so you want to put that on. Dampens the vibration and also acts as a block between the combustion side and the fresh air side. Now we can go ahead and put this guy on here. I'm going to eyeball it to be about right there. Tighten it with the 2.5 millimeter that we've determined is the right size. And again, we're gonna check it to make sure it's in the center of the blower housing when we get there. Okay, yay. And then let's see if this guy is the same 2.5. Hey, it is. Good. All right. So here's our bad motor. And I'm just going to eyeball about where it was. It's about right there. So we will then obviously, like I said, put it in its housing to make sure we're in the center. Why are you giving me grief? There we go. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is just make sure that when this gets seated back in, you got to watch out for that screw right there. There we go. Okay, I am in the center there. Very nice. Okay, I am in the center. That's wonderful. So now we can start to reassemble. And so that is replacing the motor. I'm going to throw this away. That's replacing the motor, so let's get busy putting it all back together again. Okay. I'm going to want my wires on the outboard side because they're going to come through the hole that's in my cover. You'll know this is right. It only fits one way. Okay. My two wires. I'll tell you guys a little secret. I bought myself like a GoPro camera because I was going to put it on my head, and you guys can film me like in point of view type mode. And I did a practice the other day. I was practicing on a repair, and I did that, and I watched the video, and I was getting so motion sick because I move around so much, and I don't want to make you guys motion sick. So we're not going to do that. I might use that camera on some jobs, but I want to make sure I'm not touching. I might use that camera on some jobs, but there was a thought to maybe use it on this one. But when I watched that other footage, I was thinking, there's no way I'm going to do that to you guys. So that's why you're sitting up there kind of static. I don't want to make people dizzy. But I guess a question I would ask my audience here, if you guys would benefit from this point of view type footage, are you susceptible to like camera movements? I think they call it cyber sickness. I know my son will show me something on Minecraft and he's moving the camera all over the place from the perspective of the player. I get so motion sick from that. So we've got VR, and some VR games do it to me as well. Luckily, Walkabout Mini Golf does not, and so I'm on Walkabout Mini Golf, If any of you guys are on Walkabout Mini Golf and you want to play around with me, you could always reach out to me, and we can kind of create a private room, and that might be a fun thing we can do, because I like mini golf. We got all the games. Every time they come out with a new game, we get it. Anyway, let me know. Reach out to me somehow if you guys would want to play golf. That might be kind of fun. So I am going to reconnect. Since I'm in here, I'm just doing a visual. Everything it looks clean. I don't have a problem with this. And so we're going to reconnect. Polarity really does not matter on the sail switch, so you don't have to worry too much about connecting it, which one went where. It's just a pass-through. You're coming through the switch. I want to get a screw on this thing so I don't have to keep holding it. Now I've got a fancy tool I'm about to show you guys. Let me show you this tool right now. I'm going to reach in my tool bag. It's back here. I want to magnetize the tip of my screwdriver. And so it's this little jewel right here. Okay. So on our Amazon store, and you know what? If you navigate down below to the description, I will leave different links for you guys down there in the description. But this thing works great. You just magnetize your screwdriver tip, and now I'm able to pick up screws easily. It lasts a couple days, a week, I don't know. So I just keep it in my tool bag because I'm always magnetizing the screws. I'm sure there's a reason to demagnetize a screw, but I put these screws in, and I need to. I'm sure there's a reason to demagnetize a screw, but I can't quite figure it out because that's not the trade that I'm in. I need my things magnetized. So there we go. Okay, and looky here, I have 2 more screws, so therefore they're all accounted for. Okay, nice. So now we've got to get our black wire, but let's run our red one over here. Connect it to the DSI board. I'll show you where I'm connecting this. Maybe you'll benefit from that. A little bit of housekeeping along the way. My biggest fear was this thing was going to fall and arc across those 2 points. Okay, so here on the control board, you're going to have one that says blower and one that says power, but further beyond that, one's skinny and one's fat. I don't know if that's the politically correct way of saying that, but they're 2 different widths. So the blower one's always going to be the fat pin. Okay, so if all your wires fall off, and it's going to say, what does it say here? BLO, and this one says something else. Because remember how I said that one of the blues gets piggybacked off? Well, here's the red wire that comes in from the RV. And here's where it gets piggybacked. So one of your red wires it's going to be the red with white stripe on this one, is going to be 12 volts hot because it gets piggybacked off of it. Okay, but on the DSI board, it's going to be the skinny plug, the skinny pin, and the blower motor is going to connect to the fat pin. Okay. Or I've got a 16-year-old daughter. I'm learning the Gen Z term. I think it's called big back. That's a new term for large people. I guess that makes me a big back. And here is, it's kind of fun. I'm a Gen X guy, born in '67, and I've got I've got 2 kids, and they're both Gen Z. So the epic battle between the Gen X and the Gen Z, and I can understand half of their slangy term stuff. We have fun with it. I always got to give them a hard time. Growing up in the '80s, you know, I want that to be routed a little bit differently. I want to go this way. Come here, you. Now, the furnace is not exhibiting any problems. We've done a cleaning on this furnace about a year ago, so we have worked on this furnace before. And so I don't need to go into here. Normally, if I was going to go through this much trouble, I would actually go through and do an annual cleaning on it. But this one doesn't need that. And so I'm looking for some little cable ties. I've got 2 black ones here. Not red. I carry different colored cable ties. I don't know if you guys can see. A lot of times we'll work Aqua or the BAL systems, and the different colored cable ties are great for color coding things. On the Aqua Hots, I might use it for a gas line. For the BAL, I might use it for the upper left in, upper left out, you know, just different colors. When you're going to disconnect something, the 2 color-coded cable ties are nice to be able to line things back up again. All right. That's looking nice. Okay. So now we're going to route our ground wire down through. There it is right there. I'm going to come right here with it. Okay. So everything looks good here. I'm always doing visuals. It's like if you talk to a chess master and ask them how to play the game, they really have a hard time explaining it because they're not looking at the rules. They're looking at the whole thing. And so when I'm looking at this, as many furnaces that I've worked on, I'm looking at things. I can't really tell you what I'm looking for, but it's obvious when it's not right. Like I'm looking at the gasket, and you just scan things. These wires are exposed to a lot of heat, so I always want to make sure that they're not like nicked. I have seen some where they're shorting out to the frame. But no, this one looks good. This one, I have no problems with this furnace. It looks really good. So I'm going to look here before I put the cover on to make sure that it's not sharp. On your Suburbans on the back, this is your high temperature limit right here. You have a green dot, blue dot, orange dot, red dot, violet dot, and they all have to do with the temperatures that they trip at. So I've got a manual. I made my own cheat sheet. I'm trying to figure out the best way to get it to you on what the different colors are. So we actually did a job once where they had the wrong color. We were called in to work on a furnace that had previously been worked on. And the whole problem was they put the wrong color dot on their thermostat. So the furnace was tripping because it was the wrong temperature. They had put the wrong one in. Also on these, I'll mention on these furnaces, see where it's kind of got a little bit of a rusty spot right in there? Let me, right in here. Okay. This area right in here, I will find little micro cracks in the heat exchanger right in this area. So I'm always running my hand and looking for any kind of a crack. You definitely do not want that. So that this inside heat exchanger should never be blended with the air. So here's your fan, air gets returned in here and it blows across through all of this. And if there's a crack right here, that means carbon monoxide from this flame is getting into your heating space. So these two airs never should mix. It's good to have, this would be like butyl tape or some kind of butyl tape to keep this. You want to, this is a wall, and you want to keep any combustion from getting into your heating space is what I'm trying to say. So I'm just kind of going through some of my best practices to kind of pay value into you guys. So yeah, everything looks good. So now before I put it back in its cage, let's just do a quick test. What I will do, I'm just going to unplug it right here and get directly to the motor. Okay, so let's go back to this. Oh, I had it right here. Remember, you guys were holding it for me. Outstanding. Okay, and my battery is there. Now remember, it was like around what, 2 amps, something ridiculously small like that. So let's get our battery close. And here, let me change this over to this. So there you go. Just like that, I was able to change some things. So that should be ground, and that should be my motor. And so now if I connect, it should start off right away, and we'll get an amp reading. Whoa, sounds so much better. So I'm gonna go right here on my motor, go to DC, hold my meter along the wire and zero it to 0. I'll tell you what we got. There it is, 7.5 amps. Okay, so, there's no restriction. If we were in the RV with all of the duct work that it goes around, that might go upward to 10. You know, so like I said, I think I was saying between 8 to 10 or something like that. These are sweet spots. So we're 7.5, but it's not working very hard. So that is a very good test. Okay, and I like that number. It sounds better. So we'll put this back on the fat pin, or the big back pin. Okay, and okay, so we're done with this. Put that there, put that there, put that one there. I like to do housekeeping along the way. It makes the final job easy. Okay. The quickest way I know, so I need to stow these wires. So I'm going to stow them inside. Now also, when that motor was blowing, I was listening for rubbing on anything, any imbalance in the blower fan wheel. It sounds really strong and healthy. I have no problems with it. So all my wires are tucked in. Let me put that there. Here is my little fuel notch, if you will. So I kind of know where that little notch is, and that helps me to figure out which end goes in. Sometimes you're upside down and backwards on these things. Okay. Now that screw fell off the other side, and that's why I carry this little box that's full of little screws. Right there. Beautiful. That is the perfect screw right there. I would say that's almost the exact match. So I like this tool bag, partly because it's got this little box in it and it's got all kinds of things. So we put that right there. Lovely. Okay. Now, another best practice, when I get this back in the customer's RV and it's running, I might put my hand along here, and if there's a draft of air coming through here, I'll take some HVAC foil tape and tape that up really nice. We want to make sure that the air is going through all these duct holes, not through there. Let's see, where is it? Right here. Okay. We found our little cap, and so we'll end with the test we began with. Pull our wires through here. go. So we began, I put all my things away. We began with the test. I like to finish with the same test. That way I've gone full circle. We were reading, like I said, about 1.8 amps. We did the test outside of its case, but now I like to do, the next time this furnace is going to be energized is going to be at the customer's RV. So I want to make sure that it's working here for me. These poor things, I've used these so much. I probably should get myself a new one. All right, battery. Now, we said the blue with white stripe is the one that's going to be hot, because that's where it gets piggybacked off of the red. So he's there. So let's see here. You are plus, you are minus. And I bring this battery around with me. I've got a big giant Group 27 that I carry as well. But this one is easy enough to just keep in the storage trailer for doing tests like this. I also carry 12-volt batteries on my drill for little simple tests. So I have these batteries to do testing. And I've got this little easy battery here to work with. And then, of course, a big Group 27 if I'm doing a big, heavy job. But let's see what happens. Yeah, that sounds much better. Now, it was 7.48. Let's see what we are with it in its case. I expect it's working a little bit harder. Here's our meter. Yeah, it's actually working easier. 7.3. And it is trying to ignite right now. I heard the tick. Gas valves are energizing. If we had LP connected to it, it would probably fire off. So there we go. We've got a good one here. Now, there's one more thing I'll do to this. And whenever I do a job on an RV and I do a big motor job or something, I'll put one of my stickers right here. And I like those. Avery makes some that are self-laminating. Again, navigate down to the description. I'll send you a link. And so then I go to the Avery.com website and I find that template and I create a nice sticker with my company name, my name, the date. Then I leave an area where I can actually write the date and what I did. So this will say motor R&R on this date, and there'll be a sticker on it right there. Just a like when you go get your oil change, they put that sticker in it telling you when they did it. So that's the kind of thing. And then it's also good for warranty, because if I need to come back because something I did was wrong, we could look on that sticker and find out when it was there. So here, let me move you guys up here. Say goodbye proper. Yay, there you go. Okay, here we are, everybody. Hey, man, I hope that added value to you. So if you've got a Suburban furnace, hope I kind of added some tips and tricks that get you fixed on your own. It's a really simple procedure. You're going to find your motor based off of your model number and your serial number. They have 2.5 inches and 3-inch motors, and based off of the serial numbers, what's key. So the first 2 digits are the year that was made in. And then other tips and tricks that I shared with you along the way. It's a really simple procedure. I think you can handle it. So I wish you the best of success. So happy campers say my RV works. And this is Darren from Joyce, Washington on a cold winter night working on a customer's furnace. So we'll see you in the next video. If this was valuable to you, share it, subscribe, and all those things. But navigate down to the description for more tips and tricks. All right, guys. See you on the next video. Bye.